Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a mini review of the 2001 Aubrion. And a couple of things here. This was drunk about 3 days ago as part of a big tasting with one of my subscribers, which I'll put on this channel, where this was paired with the 1998 Cheval Blanc. 2 nights prior, I did a tasting with another one of my good friends where we had 3 other vintages of Aubrion, which is also on this channel. And both of these wine nights I'll put at the end of this video. That night we drank the 2000, the 2011, and 2017. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I compared that night and then 2 nights later drank another Aubrion and got to taste it again. So I think that just tasting those together in succession was very useful to kind of get the impression of Aubrion. Now, I've done previous videos of Aubrion, and I'll refer you to them in the back of this video where I went through the history of Aubrion, so I'm not going to go through that again. And I've run multiple vintages of Aubrion and reviewed them on this channel. Some of the most stunning are the 2000, which I did and got to re-drink again 2 nights ago prior to this drinking of this wine. So let's go through the tasting of this wine. Now it has been a couple of days since I opened this wine. I had it with a subscriber. I don't believe we decanted it. We just served it out of the bottle and then I put it back in the fridge, and it's been, I think, 3 days now, so I expect some slight oxidation. But as I recall from that night, it was tasting like classic Aubrion, very earthy, dark fruit, tobacco. This is fairly classic Aubrion. It's been better vintage Aubrion, and namely the 2000 I drank 2 nights prior to this, I thought was stunning. I would say it would be very close to the 2011 that we drank. I probably would prefer the 2011 because it's got a little bit more strength to it. But this would probably be still higher rated, in my opinion, than the 2017, which I found still very nice, but a little bit green. And on the smell, it is quite oxidized at this point. It has been 3 days. But you know, you still get the dark fruit and the earthiness, a little bit of charcoal and tobacco, and that's fairly classic of Aubrion. I find that Aubrion, again, for me, is always earthy, herbally, not like very bright acidity. It's not dull either, but it's never bright acidity for my taste. It's never like bright fruit. It's more savory, I find, than all the other first growths. So let's take a taste of it. So on the taste, I think it's actually showing quite well compared to that night. There's a slight oxidation at the end, which is a little bit of acidicness, but overall the wine is still kept up. There is some good tannic structure here. You can taste it on the aftertaste. There is dark fruit, dark plums. It's almost like a dried molassy type fruit. And then you get the earthiness, some herbs, some tea leaves, and some tobacco and some charcoal. So these are quite similar or very common elements that I taste in Aubrion. Aubrion, again, to me, has never that acidic. It is still vibrant, but I wouldn't say it's like really fresh. It's not a fresh type wine. It's a much more savory wine. It actually pairs really well with steak, and I think that brings it out quite a bit. Tannins are very integrated and also sophisticated. And by sophisticated, I mean that they're not rough and they're not sharp in terms of their taste. It's a very smooth wine, and right now very pleasing to drink. You can drink this by itself, or you could have it with some steak. I think it actually does very well with steak and a little bit of meat, because it takes a little bit of the edge off the aftertaste, which can be almost a little bit like burnt toast or charcoal. So in terms of my rating, I would rate this 93 points. It's a great wine. And just compared to the 3 other vintages that I had, I would rate the 2000 quite a bit higher in my books. And I would think this is fairly comparable to the 2011 in my books. 2001 is a great drinking vintage that doesn't need a lot of time. 2011 to me is very similar, except 10 years older, so it's a little bit stronger, so it might need a little bit of decanting. And still, I would prefer this vintage to the 2017 vintage, which I find a little bit green. So can this last? For sure. This would last another 15, 20 years easily. I find that, you know, the tannin structure is good. It's going to drink softer and softer, but it won't lose the characteristic of Aubrion, which is savory in nature and earthy in nature. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy drinking.